Hi, Mike's Carburetor Parts. I want to show you how to adjust the float on a Carter YS one barrel. That's YS as in Sam. And if you have a tag on it, that would be the carburetor number. The carburetor number is not stamped on the carburetor anywhere else. If you don't have a tag, you're out of luck. You'll have to guess at the float level. But there's two settings. On a 937S is a 1/4 inch. On a 950S it's 9/64. All else fails, set the float level. Alright, one thing I want to point out is this tube here goes in this hole. You want to be sure you get that in that hole when you're putting it in so you don't bend it. Can't find them. Alright, so there you go. So with the gasket off, we're going to measure the distance from here to here, and in this case it's going to be a 1/4 inch. And I don't have this set, but rough. So with my caliper I can measure it like that, and you see it's pretty close. It needs to come down just a little bit. And to adjust it, make sure your float pin is not too worn. This one is. It's got a little worn spot there. I'm not sure if these are available anywhere. I don't think so. Anyhow, it's adjusted. The float level is adjusted by this little tab right here. You bend it in or out to get your float level. Float drop is with this tab here. Don't put any pressure on the needle. If you do, it could score easily, and you could flood your carburetor. Okay, so you adjusted the float by bending one of those tabs. Get this thing back in here. Come on, float pin. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, you can. If the float is way out of whack, you can bend it right here. It would resist that because the float might not be level enough. You need it as level as you can get, or straight. Okay, and all right, so that's the float level, and the float drop you measure this way. There's no measurement on it. You just want to make sure that it drops enough to let that needle out. Probably about that much would be about right. You want to let the needle come out enough to let the fuel flow, and you don't want to come out so far that the needle could get cocked to one side. And speaking of needles, this is a spring-loaded needle, which is good when you're doing any kind of off the pavement kind of driving. And first of all, blow this out, make sure there's no dirt in it, because that'll make it leak. And then your needle, there's the Viton tip, and the needle goes in. Let me take this apart. The needle goes in, then there's a spring here that goes in the little hole there. Get that in there, and then you got the little pin that the float rides on, and there you go. So you see it's spring loaded, and that just keeps the bounce out of the float when you're off road, or even on road if you're on a rough road. Yeah, see, this pin is worn, so but that's the kind of thing we have to deal with on this old stuff. You can't just find all these parts like you used to, and we have to kind of live with that. Adjust accordingly. You want to feel the float for any catching. So for example, if that pin was worn enough where it catched, your float might not go up and down like it should, and also cause flooding. So that's just something you want to check while you got off. Check to make sure the float is centered in here. And once you got all that adjusted, again, be careful that tube gets in that hole first, and there you go, and that's your float level, and that's all you got to do. Okay, so you can get the kit for this on our website at mikescarb.com. It's mikescarb.com. carburetorshop.com. And we do appreciate your business. Thank you for watching this video.